Like, definitely all the other sports things, and I would always try to be the best
Yeah.
in, like, practices. But for whatever reason, when I was there in Colorado, that one was just hard for me.
This is the episode that I don't know what I'm doing, so this is new. Regardless, welcome back to episode 15. Oh my god, episode 15 of the Realist Podcast. We've been pushing out content this entire month, over the past 2 months. I'm so excited. By the way, banner right there, the Realist Podcast, episode 15. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for viewing and subscribing. Nationers, it's been a good day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm running off like 4 hours of sleep just because of the things that I mentioned in episode 14 at the Treehouse. If you guys haven't watched that video, I recommend it because it's probably one of my better videos. And well, maybe not podcast wise because there was a few technical difficulties. Regardless, the video actually on my main YouTube channel was probably one of my best this year. I think one of my best this year was probably my Spartan video. That video. And maybe the podcast one. I felt like I could have done the podcast better, but it's already out. I can't do much now, so I would definitely put this latest one up there in that top 3 for sure. But I'd let you guys decide. So it's a journey, and I'm glad that you guys can be on this journey. So again, my goal by the end of the year is to hit 100,000 subscribers on my main YouTube channel, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. So we're here at the Realest Podcast, episode 15. We got another guest for you guys. This one is one, again, of high magnitude, like quite literally, like high magnitude. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like, there's only one way to explain it, and that's to actually welcome him on. This man is one of my best friends. We were ASB reps together. He is the reason I am in the position I am today. He's the reason I work as hard as I do. He's about to leave us for South Africa, and he's one of my biggest inspirations. It is my pleasure to welcome the hockey player, fish lover, and the one and only Casey Nowak! Woo! I hope the intro does justice to what this man not only means to me. It's weird kind of talking because like it's weird. I find it so weird to like praise people like in front of them. Like I like doing it like when I'm not in front of them, but like you're here, man. I mean, how could I not praise you, man? Like I said, you're one of my biggest inspirations, the reason I work hard, and the reason I'm in this position today. And I'd like to actually tell you because I don't know if you know what that exactly means, because I know what that means to me. Welcome on, Casey. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. It's great to be here, Jared, and thank you for having me.
Dude, absolutely. Like I said, Nationers, we go way back. We go way back from, like, beyond just high school.
Middle school,
at
least.
Yeah, middle school. And it's interestingly enough how we kind of, like, converge these two paths together for a short time. And, I mean, it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, middle school, I mean, let's run it back. Right? We're in middle school. I mean, you did football.
Yeah, but we did track together.
Yeah, we did track together. We were both distance runners in that regard. You were a big javelin guy.
Mm-hmm. Back in middle school.
Yeah, and
those
you
little plastic javelins.
the turbo jet.
Yep.
like these little things that you can buy for like Fred Meyer's or Walmart. But man, dude, I'm excited to have you on, Job, only because of like our history together. But like, I mean, we did track back then. We did a lot of stuff, and look at us now. That's like
we're all grown up.
Like 8 years later, like 8,
Seriously.
9 years later, it's absolutely insane. So I'm glad to have you on. I obviously want to talk about the track. I don't know if that has much significance to do with our story, but I want to talk about our story. That's kind of the thing that I want to touch on because I think that me and you have a story that, I mean, is really unreplicable. It really is. I'd like to hear what you think of our story, Like, it's super odd. It's a weird, it's like these two worlds converged and we just, like, took off. Like, it's super weird.
Yeah, honestly, like, in middle school, we ran with each other, but we weren't super close. We were just running buddies pretty much. And it wasn't until we got into high school when we were both in ASB that we were really able to connect and build a friendship. And do things that we wouldn't normally do together, and I think that's what brought us close. And when we were at leadership camp, it gave us the opportunity to meet each other and meet other people in ways that we didn't know we could at the time. And honestly, like that week, I cried the most in my life.
Our first leadership camp was great. Like, I mean, it was an awesome experience, but I never thought that I would let the waterworks run as much as they did.
It just hit you in a different way when you were there.
Yeah, I was on irrigation control before that, and then leadership camp came, and I'm bawling my eyes out. And I mean, mind you, like before that, I've seen you cry like not many times, but God, and probably vice versa. But man, what an experience! And like you said, we weren't super close. It wasn't like, hey, Casey, you want to go hang out? But I mean, beyond just like middle school, I think high school was definitely the turning point for both of us, our junior year more prominently. And, like when we were like freshman and sophomore, like I always remember, this is like the one thing that sticks with me, is Coach Preston, our cross-country coach. Like, dude, you would like go to practice, ride your bike back home, mow like 15 lawns, get your work done, go to hockey practice, and then do it all again the next day.
Yeah, that was a tough grind then.
It made no sense to me how much time you had in the day.
I literally would go to sleep and wake up super early because I had seminary before school. And then I'd go to school. Then after school, I'd pretty much do cross-country workout, go home. It was all I could do to eat and leave to go to hockey practice. And then, like, on the weekends and stuff, I'd mow people's lawns. And, yeah.
Oh, dude, it was so insane. Like, yeah. Dude, my grind time definitely came my sophomore year. But regardless, like, you're doing this as a freshman, and you don't have a car. So, like, that transportation, you're, like, riding your bike back home.
I had ride my bike, tried to get rides from people if I could.
Oh, dude, it was the most insane thing to hear. And I remember Coach Preston just talking about, like, I mean, yeah, to an extent I knew, but, like, when you put it into words from somebody else who's contextualizing what's going on, it made it so much, like appreciation for what you're doing, like you're putting in all these hours of work, and it's just like, well, what is the payoff? It's just like, like you're probably getting money mowing, you're getting through your education, but it's like you're doing so much. Is anything happening because you're doing so much? So it was just insane just to see like the work ethic that you had. And I'll never forget, I think it was a sophomore year of cross country. We were at Pullman. I'll never forget because I didn't have like a particularly great race because I was trying to push the pace in the first half, and then I was dead the second half. And I remember you just kept working, just kept chipping away. And by the time we get to like the final like diagonal like 150, everyone's cheering on Casey to go beat me. And I'm just like, there's no way he's this close. And I'd like see you like right on the, like I can feel you like here on me as I'm running. I'm like, I'm not letting Casey beat me. I'm not letting him beat me. I don't remember the result, but I would like to say that I didn't let you beat me.
I'm pretty sure you beat me that one.
Oh my God, dude. I was just like, bro, I'm like, there's no way. Well, not to say like you worked up from JV and literally just kept working. Until you earned your varsity spot.
I think I ran varsity at like 7th man a couple times freshman year.
Okay.
Or once or twice. But I'm pretty sure you were hurt freshman year because you hurt your foot one of the times.
That was my sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah, that was after like the Richland invite because remember when my shoe came off?
Yep.
It was that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that was the end of my cross country.
Yeah.
Bro, dude, your work ethic is so insane. And just like seeing it, like I said, it like how could you not work that hard? Like when you see it, when like somebody you're so close with is doing it, like it only makes you want to do it more. And so that's kind of what I meant in the intro is like, dude, like this man is like one of the reasons I work so hard because I've seen it firsthand, So like, where do you get your work ethic from?
I don't know. When I do like physical stuff, I'm just in the zone pretty much.
Yeah.
Like it wears me out. Like at work, I'll just work and work and work.
Yeah.
Then when I get home, I don't realize till I'm done, but I'm really tired. And I eat a lot. That's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
I eat so much.
In a good way. That's like energizing because you're probably working 10, 12-hour days.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Like usually I'll go to work like yesterday and the day before I went to work. And then I came home after like an 8-hour day and then hauled tons of trees to the dump.
God.
But yeah. I'm just working a lot.
Bro, is it weird getting praised for like how hard you work or stuff that you do when you're like, this is just kind of what I normally do?
Yeah, kind of.
Just like when people are like, oh my God, like me, like imagine me like freshman year being like, oh my God, well, Coach Preston when he's like, man, this guy works so hard. It's like, yeah, it's just what I do. It's just so normal.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, I mean, it feels weird when the work pays off, you know? And it's just like, wow, like I put in all this work and now there's something to look back at.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is when we kind of like converge worlds, I'll never forget this because I remember Colton had, was like said, he's the reason why we probably both got into leadership.
Yeah. He actually asked me, he's like, hey, you got to do leadership.
Bro.
I was like, I don't know. He's like, no, you got to do leadership.
Bro, I remember one time I was hanging out with them and I remember Colton bringing you to Senora Gaver's door, Mrs. Gaver's door. It's weird calling her Mrs. But her door, and there was the slips that you sign up with.
Yep.
And I'll never forget it. I'm like, bro, I hope he doesn't run for vice president. I was like, I don't want to be competing against, like, because I had already signed up, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, if Casey signs up, I mean, he's winning that position. Like, hands down. And you then picked activities coordinator. Was there any sway from anybody that you just thought it was better?
Well, I really liked like you running for president or vice president at the time, and I was like, if I don't run for vice president, like then there'll be another cool person there at least.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. There's more potential instead of like putting like two really good people at a position and picking.
Yeah.
And
then
diversifying.
Also, I was like looking at the requirements because I was still at the time thinking I was going to do hockey. So I was trying to pick which one I would like to do.
Yeah.
And would like work for me the best. So that's why I stuck with activities coordinator.
Fair enough.
And I like to do activities, so it works.
It was fun. Dude, it was insane. It was insane because when we got into like leadership, like we're like kind of like the backseat people. We're like, how does this work? How does this vessel drive? It's not like we're just pressing the gas. It's like we're turning on these different gears and we're leveling up this like vehicle to potentially build up throughout our junior year and then for us to actually use like our senior year. And dude, both those years are just like movies. Mm-hmm. They're just movies. Because this year for you especially was probably one of the I could imagine one of the oddest years for you. Like you said you were planning on doing hockey.
Yeah.
And then made the decision to not do hockey.
Yep.
So what was that process like?
It was pretty hard. Like, it was one of the hardest decisions I had to make in my life ever. Because I played from the time I was 4. I learned to skate when I was 3.
Yeah.
And I played, like, every single year up to that point. So it was literally a part of my life every single year. Like, I don't remember
a year
all
without
the way.
it.
Yeah, I don't remember, like, learning how to skate. It's just been something I do.
Yeah.
And so then I got to the point where, like you mentioned at the beginning, when I was so busy all the time, and it was just wearing me out pretty much.
Yeah.
And I decided that after we went to leadership camp, that first leadership camp, I was like, there's more to life than just hockey.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to take a break for now and see if I can make the most out of high school. Because I had some ambitions and goals that I had set, that I was ambitious about.
Yeah.
Like keeping my grades up.
Yeah.
And being a valedictorian. So that's what I wanted.
Which ended up paying off. So congratulations, Mr. 4.0 Casey Nowak. And yeah, dude, I can imagine like after 2 years of just grinding that when you feel like this world-changing like effect of leadership camp, I've mentioned this before, it's so hard to replicate. You just like, you have to be there to understand. If that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You just can't like be like, oh, this is what it's like. Enjoy.
Yeah, like in 1 week you can become better friends with people you've never met than some of the friends that you have.
Bro, like it's
literally
like insane. Like I mean, I'd mentioned this for my Spartan video, like Junior, who we met at leadership camp our senior year. Well, I think we met him at the
AWSL too.
Yeah. Did we meet him our junior year or only One of the years.
He was there our junior year, but I didn't know him our junior year well till our senior year.
Yeah, and then because you guys roomed together. You guys were at the same building.
At AWSL.
Yeah. So you guys obviously got to connect. I'll never forget it because I was like, how do you guys know each other? I'm like, you guys never I never saw you interact, and then I realized I asked him, I was like, how are you close with Casey? Like, why are you close with Casey? And then I found out. So I mean, regardless, dude, that experience is so insane.
Yeah.
And so when you're in that position of just this life-changing 6-7 days of just straight leadership and super inspiring stuff, and it feels like you want to just go change the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one thing that you've been doing for the past 15 years of your life. I guess 14, 15. We'll say 15 because you would have been 2, which probably I wouldn't be surprised if you started skating at 2. But you just that process of just making the decision, was it just how do you just think about that? Because I want to hear your perspective because I went through the exact same thing.
Well, I had to talk with my parents about it a lot and sort of weigh the pros and cons of not playing hockey. Hockey's a really expensive sport too.
Yeah.
So I was a financial burden on my parents a bit, but they were okay with it. If it was something that I wanted to do, they would make it happen. But weighing the pros and cons and the opportunities that I had in high school, I just wanted to, whatever I did, try and do the best. And so if I put myself in too many places, it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah.
And
it's all these different verticals that you're trying to excel in, but then you really don't excel at anything.
Yep.
So
I had to make a decision, and at the time I just got burnt out on hockey.
Yeah.
And it wasn't I love hockey.
Yeah.
But at the time I just couldn't do it then, so I had to take a break.
Yeah. So I mean that break probably lasted what?
2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
So once we graduated.
Yep. After we graduated, then I got the hockey itch again.
Yeah. Is that something that happens a lot? When you're in the off season, you're and then it finally kicks back into season. You're let's go.
It definitely happens a bit, but I just after I graduated, I was at a point where I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about football and hockey.
Yeah.
And I was I really miss hockey.
Well, not to even mention, I mean, you went from hockey to football.
Yep.
I mean, the physical nature of both sports is probably almost parallel. You're getting hit almost every play. You're just rough and tough. I mean, mind you, the quarterback too. But even then, you probably threw football before. But I don't know if it was it ever a desire for you to actually go play football? What was a swaying point for you to actually pick up a football, learn the plays, eventually go try out to go be quarterback for a senior year? What was that like?
So in middle school, I played quarterback for JV.
Okay.
I made varsity as wide receiver, but I talked to my dad about it. I was like, hey, I made varsity as wide receiver. So, and I can also play quarterback on JV. And I was like, what should I do? And he's like, well, do you want to watch the game or do you want to play the game? So I was like, yeah, I want to play. And so I decided to stick with quarterback and play in 8th grade as JV.
Okay.
And then going into high school, I'd play football, mess around with friends.
Yeah.
And I could always throw it really far.
You got a cannon, man. You got an arm. So.
And people were like, hey, you got to do football. My friends. And I remember Mark Como was like, hey, you got to play football. When I leave, you got to play football. And so I was thinking about it a lot. And then realizing all the things sort of lined up perfectly where we didn't have a quarterback going into my senior year. And we had a new coach. And the only other quarterback was a freshman.
Yeah.
So,
Connor?
Yeah, no,
Henry?
or he was going to be a sophomore, but he was a freshman that year.
Oh,
junior
gotcha.
year. And so I was like, yeah, I can do this. I think I can do it. So then I just started practicing, working out a lot. That was one of the biggest things because I never really worked out, lifted weights.
Yeah.
So I had to do that. And I started practicing with a quarterback coach too, but it wasn't really till in the spring when Griggs came. We had the new coach come to school. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be your quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I told him.
How do you just approach him and you're just like, hey, I'm your quarterback? Is that the confidence that you walk in? And you'd be like, yeah, I'm the guy. I'm your man. Obviously not egotistically, but hey, you obviously got to rise to the occasion. you know?
I was like, hey, like, nice to meet you. I'm Casey Nowak. I'm going to be your quarterback this year. But, yeah. So then once we went into that spring little camp thing, Henry and I were, like, right at the same. And I missed, like, a week because I went fishing.
Yeah.
And so I fell behind that day because I didn't realize there was a whole page full of plays that I didn't learn.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, I learned all the handoff things. I didn't realize there was all these throwing plays. So I was behind going into that point.
Casey's just thinking all these quarterbacks, you know what, I'm gonna hand it off. We're gonna feed the running back the entire game. Which like theoretically did. It was so annoying, but regardless.
Yeah. But then like I went and I was just behind and they sort of like had me at the bottom, I guess. I felt like Henry was definitely above me at that point. And then like the end of camp, I played all right. Like we were just battling it out.
Yeah.
And so then over the summer, I worked like every single week, all the time. Like whenever I could, I was throwing with friends, working on plays, and I was working with a quarterback coach a lot. And I just keep practicing what I was learning. And when we came back, I was so much better. Like it was night and day difference.
Yeah. Were you surprised when you found that I was going to be on the roster too? Or
Yes, I was. I was trying to get you because I knew you were so fast, but I wasn't 100% sure if that was ever going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget the call with Griggs. I remember, like, I missed his first call because it's just a random number. Like, then he leaves a voicemail, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I kind of see he's probably just like, hey, I know it's your senior year. Let's go make it big, play football. And, and he's just like, as you know, my sole focus was track. You know, that's why I left cross country, just solely focus on track.
Yep.
And I was like, I remember having a call with him, and he's like, I talk about just like, this is like, I just want to focus on this. And I remember, I always get emotional when I tell it. He said, he's like, bro, life's too short to just be living yourself, like putting yourself in a bubble. And I was like, great talking to you. I'll get back to you. And bro, I just like thought on that for like 3 days. I'm just like, let's do it. Like, let's just do it. Like, I mean, I'm fast, like I never been hit. I've never been hit. So that was that. And I'm a little tiny. I was one of the smallest guys on the team.
Yeah.
Noah McDermott's like 4 or 5 inches shorter than me, and he was just as big as me. Bro, it was. So, I mean, I was coming at like at a different angle at football. You get people who are like 160 at least. I was like 145.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I never felt like a burning desire for football. I found it really enjoyable. But did you ever have that burning desire? Like, yeah, like this is going to be like the season.
Yeah, I actually like when I was in middle school and we went to like the first high school football game ever and I was in 8th grade and I watched them play. I was like, I really want to do that. Like that would be so cool to be out there playing.
Yeah. And
it was actually way cooler than I thought it would be.
Yeah, like when you're out there on Friday Night Lights and you're like in the spotlight.
There's like nothing
like it. I mean, we could probably replicate it better than we can leadership camp, but bro, I remember that first game. I'll never forget that one play. I ran the wrong route and somehow you figured it out. And 47 yards later, like
I know, that was crazy.
I don't know how that happened. I don't know how it happened. I remember we talked about that play and I was like, I swear we called like Blue Saints or something. So I run like a post or like a streak looking post. And he's like, no, like that was not the play. And I was just like, well, I ran that route and we got 47 yards.
Yeah.
I ran a few wrong routes, but we made it work.
Yeah, there was some awesome parts.
Dude, I'll never forget. I mean, bro, you got hit so many times.
Yep.
You got hit more times than there was probably numbers on like the lineman's jersey.
Yeah, I was like for 2 months after football season, I was still sore.
2 months?
Like I literally
like
was,
wake
my
up
body
and you're
would
like
just ache. Yeah.
You wake up and you feel like an 80-year-old man.
Then after that I was good.
Good. I mean, surprisingly enough, I mean, you played hockey, so like getting hit probably wasn't new to you.
It's a different kind.
It's a different kind of hit though, I feel like. Like I feel like there's more kinetic energy that then like topples onto you. Like it's like a full movement. Whereas like hockey, you kind of like check them.
Yeah, some of the football players are like 2 or 3 times the size of hockey players.
Bro, I'll never forget. Well, there's 2 things that I'll never forget during football. Well, there's maybe 3. It was the fake punt that I did that nobody saw coming.
And you got a first down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was like a 4th and 3. So I had to run like already 11 yards from where I'm at. Then run plus 3 yards somewhere. And then for me to get it. But bro,
weren't the coaches so mad at you?
Yes, dude. Bro, I don't understand why they were mad at me. I got it as a first down. Like, why would that matter if, like, bro, I think Griggs was the only one mad. McCullough, our punt coach, our defensive coordinator, our like special teams, he didn't seem too mad. He came to me after the play, and I was like, oh, that was a good. Don't do it again.
Were you planning on doing that?
So here's the rundown of it. I like saw the line, and so I'm looking at the line, and there's like 2 guys on the left side, and there's like 5 on the right. I'm like, bro, like I can outrun 2 guys. Like, I mean, granted that there'll probably be people that come back, but bro, I could beat 2 guys. I know I'm fast, and these guys are a little bit bigger. They're probably linebackers. I could beat them. I just grabbed the ball, tucked it, and ran. Bro, dude, I was on like a different level that play. I'm just like, bro, it's an opportunity. Like, I know I can do it. I'm gonna have the confidence to do it. If it doesn't turn out, yeah, blast me to eternity. But if I won't know if I don't try. So we're gonna try. I picked up the ball, tucked it, and just ran as fast as I could. And got the first down. And then we drove all the way to like the 3. And then we turned it over.
Yep.
On downs.
Dang.
And then I got slammed by our coach. I'm like, this makes no sense to me. I'm like, it didn't correlate. I mean, maybe that's why we went 0-9.
Yeah, we wouldn't go for it on 4th downs usually. Or if it was like
close, we never field goaled
the last couple minutes of the last like 10 seconds of the quarter, and we had the ball, we just knee it, run the timeout instead of throwing it.
Oh, it made no sense.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, that was one of my plays. There was a play at Lakeland where I like punted the ball, and there was like a 400-pound guy that like fell down. I'm like, I'm gonna go block him. Nope, no. Don't block a 400-pound guy when you're like a third of his size. So I learned my lesson there. What was the other one? I had like another one in mind.
The one where you got like a concussion?
Yeah, that's probably another memorable play.
I remember that one.
Shout out Hunter Scott, because he didn't show up for class, so he couldn't play.
Oh,
so I had to fill in.
Yep.
Hunter Scott, you could have been the one with this concussion.
Or if I threw it like a decent pass
in front of me instead of
right
where I open my head and then get blasted into eternity. Yeah. I mean, it was a good season.
Didn't you catch it? Or you almost caught it?
No, I almost. I mean, I was like in stride, like here.
Yeah.
It was like Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, like, and then got blasted. And then I'll never forget, I sat there like lifeless. And Carter's like, bro, get up. I'm like, dude, I cannot get up right now. And I like they tell you if somebody's like down, like don't pick them up. They might have a concussion. Bro, I don't remember the next 3 plays, bro. I remember because I still had to punt, right?
Yeah.
I remember I had to go punt. Bro, I grabbed the ball. The ball teleported to my hands. It teleported to my hands. It went from Josh Browning to my hands and somehow got to my foot and went that way. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then I walk over. I'm like, I can't see. I can't see.
I got a head injury too.
Did you get a concussion? Do you feel like you got a concussion?
No.
But I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was against Lake City when it was a 3rd down, and it was a roll out to the right play. Snap the ball, start rolling out to the right, and our
it was like a
right
Steeler
tackle,
play.
Yeah. Our right tackle, because I'm rolling out to the right, he blocks the guy out to the right. He pushes him out to the right side.
Yeah, so he just pushes him to you?
So I'm running the same way where he pushes the guy, and it was like 3rd and 10, so I was trying to go deep, and Isaiah was running down the line. He wasn't quite open yet, so I hadn't thrown it, and I was just about to throw it, like just throw it and hope for it, because it was 3rd and 10, so it wouldn't matter if they intercepted it or not, because we were going to punt it anyway.
This is the 4th quarter, too.
Yeah.
So
and we were down by like a touchdown and a half or something.
Yeah. If only I caught the ball.
But I went to throw, and the guy, I saw him right at the last second, and he like just barely hit me as I was about to throw, so I didn't throw it all the way.
Yeah.
And he started driving me back, like
How driving you?
Yeah. And then like he went to tackle me, and my head just went and smacked the ground really hard, like whiplash.
Yeah.
Kinda. And then like my fingers and my feet like went kind of numb.
Yeah.
And Zach Holt came over and he was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he like picked me up. I was like, "I don't know." Like I couldn't hardly walk right after that.
Yeah.
And then once we got to the sidelines, I was pretty fine, but my head was kind of sore.
Yeah.
And then
for the next
like
2
I
months.
took ibuprofen
Oh God.
and like just rested that night. And the next morning it was like way better.
Yeah.
And then after that it was like better every day.
Yeah,
Like,
I was on the far end of that. I remember like I don't really know what happened. Like I couldn't see it because I was playing X, so I was the single receiver on the left, and I just happened to run my route, like block my guy just in case, like run my route, and then hope that the ball is in somebody's hand so I could go block. No, it's on the sideline and your head's in the ground, and I'm like,
yeah.
What's happening? What went on? And then I see you get like walked off. I'm like, oh, so that's what went on. You got power drive from this guy, and I can see him celebrating. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I played really good that game too. I had 2 touchdowns.
It was a good game, surprisingly, because they're a 5A school. We're a 2A.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we probably should have got crushed by
They
them.
had like double or triple our numbers.
Yeah, it was like the one game that we had more points than anything.
But I was destroying them.
Yeah.
Like, that was a really good game for me. It
Yeah,
was fun.
I
It
could
was a
have had
lot of
another
fun.
touchdown to that, but I dropped the ball.
Oh.
You know the
Dang.
play. Man, Saint. Wide open, bro. I beat my receiver so easily, and then just dropped it. And I'm like, oh, bro, it was the most frustrating thing, dude. I was like, it kind of took me out of the game just a bit, and I was just like, bro, I can't stop thinking about that play.
Yeah.
And then just move on to the next one. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right, but like this one play probably could have won us the game. And I just didn't catch it.
It's
I didn't
okay.
have I didn't have a touchdown that entire season.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't have
Dang.
any. That would have been my first one. And I just like let the opportunity just go right through my hands theoretically. Like hypothetically. Not even hypothetically. It went right through my hands. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But bro, dude, it was so fun playing football. Not only with you, but with the other guys.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean the people who actually play it, you know, like your
Uh-huh.
Felix and Zach Holtz, you know, who are like super driven by that sport.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I mean, it was an adventure for both of us. You know, it was definitely more out of my realm than it was yours, which, I mean, I think I say that just because you, like, put in so much work, you know, and your hockey side kind of helped you at least, like, be able to, like, get hit just a bit. Like you said, it's not the same, but at least be able to adapt to a sport like that and to rise to the occasion, you know? I think rising to the occasion for me has been something that I've been able to do in different facets in my life. But like you're like the star, you're like the guy, you know, you're the quarterback, you know, like you're the guy, you know. And I just kudos out to you because you really rose to the occasion for in this field that, and like I said, not many of us knew prior to actually doing it.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, just kudos out to you in that regards. But I mean, dude, not to even mention like the other stuff that we had going on throughout that entire season. Because, bro, like right after my concussion, we're going to the fall conference.
Our bye week, it was lucky.
Yeah.
We were able to make it. But
Bro, there was something that just happened because I probably would have gone. Because I know you mentioned if it were just a game, you'd probably stay for the game.
yeah.
But luckily, it just happened to be our bye week.
Yeah. I
Probably
would have
the-
stayed and played football.
The most surreal situation. And, well, the most surreal experience probably of both of our lives. Well, not to even mention like our entire senior season is just like a surreal moment.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a movie.
I wish I could go back and do it all
Bro.
over. It was so fun.
Dude, junior and senior, I mean, like, it was so weird because I got picked up like a little bit from the ASB crew like my sophomore year, then did it for the next two. But like you just, I mean, how did Colton approach you and be like, yo, you got to do this?
It was more like I just felt out of it, I guess. Like he was
Sure.
just reaching out,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, sure, I'll try and see where it goes. And
Yeah.
then Chips Ahoy, Casey's your
Oh my
boy.
God, the best marketing. The best marketing.
Yeah, that's why I won, because there was like 2 other seniors I was running against, or juniors that were gonna be seniors that I was running against, and I was a sophomore, gonna be a junior,
Yeah.
and so I beat him. It was fun.
That's how you do it, baby. Great marketing yields great results, right?
Yeah.
Bro, I'll never forget. Chips Ahoy, Casey, your boy. Everyone still says it today.
Yeah.
I remember for your birthday, I got you Chips Ahoy.
Yep.
I'm like, what do I get Casey? I'm like, what candy? I'm like, I know I can't. It's such an easy birthday gift for you. It's just to give you Chips Ahoy. So when you come back 2 years from now, and it's your birthday,
Chips Ahoy.
Chips Ahoy is what I'm getting you. Great marketing. Well, like, I mean, dude, you have 2 seniors in the same field as you. Are you like terrified at all that you might like lose? I mean, at most, you just spent like maybe $50 on Chips Ahoy.
Yeah. No,
You know?
it wasn't that bad. I felt pretty good. I just felt like I had different experiences and was prepared in a way that they weren't, and I felt really connected to the people.
Yeah, I think that was the thing that really drove you to success was not only your personality, but your connection to actually use that personality with other people.
Yeah.
And like not only our friends that we knew or know, but like just even the extension from that to people that you're not maybe close with, to people that you maybe talk to once or twice a week at school. And so I think that really helped you in your regards for that.
Yeah, like I'd always be nice to everyone pretty much. And say hi to people I was in class with if I saw them in the halls. And they sort of like felt that connection. It was fun. I was pretty much friends with everybody.
Yeah.
But
how could you not like Casey? How could you not like Casey? Like, it's like, I'm looking for a reason to, but he's just too kind. Like if somebody were like to hate you, it's like, bro, like how could I hate this man? like how could you? You're just a kind guy.
Yeah.
So I think it really worked in your regards to actually win. I mean, the best thing, like I said, is just to have confidence in yourself. I was going against CJ.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, theoretically in my mind, I've created a rally where he doesn't win and I do. And it just happened to work out, Like, would you have ran again your senior year if you didn't win your junior year?
I don't know. If I didn't, I probably might have played hockey.
Okay.
ASB was like one of the biggest things that
swayed
kept me from playing hockey, because it was like another commitment outside of school. So like when I was done with school, I wouldn't be able to go to hockey practice like that evening because there's other commitments and stuff for ASB. So that was like one of the main things that was like, hey, I just don't have time for hockey now.
Yeah.
But
so it would have been up in the air questionably if you
like I went and skated a couple times. Like they already picked their team. They wanted me to come play again. Yeah. And like I went and skated with them and I was just like, it's fun, but I just don't really want to do it.
Yeah. I think that's the hard part. Like for me, like hockey, I correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically skill-based for the most part, which I think most sports are. Soccer is very similar in that fashion where you work it from a rec league, you go to like a club. Yep. That club only gets better and better until you become like a Spokane Junior Braves, and then like the Spokane Chiefs, and then that goes into like a minor, or I guess the major leagues.
Well, they have like different age groups. So every 2 years, so like 1 year you play with the year above you, and the next year you play with the year below you.
Okay, so it's like a 15, 16, 17, 18 type thing?
Yeah, they have like a U14, U16, U18.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like that. And then for Spokane, they have like the A team and the B team.
Oh, gotcha.
Like the best, and then
the next best
below.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, it's just like house kind of rec.
Okay.
And, I was always on the A team once I was getting older, but I think I was on the B team once.
Sure.
But that was like at the early stages of hockey.
Gotcha.
And then,
So, yeah, I mean, like, in the regards of, like, just, like, progressing, like, is there a goal at the end of the tunnel? Like, is there a light at the end of the tunnel that you're like, yeah, I'm going to go achieve that, and I'm going to, do that?
Yeah, for hockey, I always wanted to get drafted to the Spokane Chiefs.
Yeah.
But you have to be, like, insane to do that. And so I didn't get drafted because you get drafted when you're 15.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, after that, I was just like, I don't know.
How does that work? Like, you get drafted at 15.
Yeah.
To the Spokane Chiefs, so which is the minor league.
Their
team.
league is, like, 16 to 20-year-olds is their league. So it's the same for the Braves. But they're major juniors. So they're, like, a lot of them get drafted to the pros out of that. Yeah. But they're not professional athletes yet.
Yeah.
And they get paid, like, a little bit, and all their gear and stuff's for free. So by NCAA standards, they're considered professional athletes, so they can't play in the NCAA.
Oh.
After they play for the Spokane Chiefs. But they can play up in college in Canada, which a lot of them do.
Sure.
But then below that is Junior A, which is, there's like a team in Wenatchee, the Wild, they're Junior A. And that's like one step below the Chiefs. And then there's the Spokane Braves, which is Junior B, which is 2 steps below the Chiefs. And they're all 16 to 20 years old.
But you can go from the Braves to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
In some
There's
facet.
actually a guy on the Chiefs right now
that you played with.
Yeah. Well, I've practiced and skated with him a ton over the summers, and his name's Bear Hughes. But
Bear Hughes.
He's my age. He's 20. And when he was 18, he played his first season for the Chiefs. But when he was 17, he played for the Braves. And that was his first season. He did unreal, like scored, I don't know, probably like 2 points a game.
Really?
Yeah, like he was really good.
Wow.
And then before that, he was just playing rec, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. So there's like, he's just a stud.
Wow, dude, that's insane. Like,
and now he's drafted to the pros. Yeah.
You could say that you've played with a professional hockey athlete?
Yeah. I actually, when I was 12, I played on a Canadian hockey team. It's called Spring Team.
Okay.
And so, like, it's just like a small spring season.
Okay, sure.
And it was up in Nelson, so like 2.5 hours away north.
Yeah.
And I'd go up there and I'd stay with a Canadian family, and there was a few of us from the States, like my goalie, Bailey. And, my buddy Marcus. But you're all
built up there?
Born in 2001.
Sure.
So you're all the same age.
Okay.
And then we'd stay up there like for a few days.
And he was up there? Hughes?
No.
Okay.
But my buddy Bailey and I, like, we'd stay at the house and bill it up there for a couple days. But almost like every day we'd drive up to Canada. It was crazy.
Bro,
and
really?
Then I played, my D partner was Bowen Byram, and he got drafted to the Colorado Avalanche. I think he was 4th overall. Wow. Like 2 years ago. But yeah, he was my D partner, so I played with him.
What? Yeah. Oh my God, dude, that's insane. I mean, not to mention, like I said, your work ethic is so unmatched. Like, not many people can at least reach that. So when you see people that are better than you, what does that feel like?
Sometimes it can put you down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I went to, when I was 14, I went to Colorado Springs for Western Regional High Performance Hockey Camp.
Okay.
So basically what you do is you go to your state camp, and they have one every year. It's to try and build for the USA national team.
Sure.
And so you go to your state camp, and then they select the best players out of your state camp to go to the next camp, which was that one when I was 14. And like, I got there, and there's tons of scouts. Like, that was probably the hardest thing, was playing and knowing that people were watching you to see how good you were. It was like, always, the pressure was always on. But I went there, and I was like one of the kids that was not the best. Like, I was in the lower of the end, but these guys were like crazy good. And like, we lived there for a week away from all our parents in the dorms at Colorado Springs.
14.
Yeah.
God.
And like, some of the guys are like crazy good.
Yeah.
And it was super cool to see.
Does it inspire you at all?
Yeah.
Like that, like to keep working and to be better?
Yeah. Like, definitely I tried to work a lot harder, but sometimes it can kind of just feel weird. Like, I remember when I was there, I just felt like I should have done a whole lot more to prepare.
Well, like when I was in football, you know, like, I mean, talent's gonna take you so far, you know? Like, yeah, I'm fast, but that was from hard work. I got hands, which is probably more of my talent, but as I said, I dropped a touchdown. But just like, I mean, I know I'm not the best guy on the team, but it's like, how do I at least still bring value without being a liability and a burden to our success? You know? So like, for me, when I see people, especially in track, and I see that they're better than I am, it fires me the fuck up. It fires me up because I want to be the best. And when I see somebody doing better than I am, like, bro, there's no stopping me to beat them. Yeah. Like, there's not any stopping. And so, like, when you were going to beat me in that race in Pullman, I'm like, bro, there's no way I'm not letting this happen. And it's just not happening in my mind. Like, I will work as hard as I can to better myself in any facet. And I think the same thing went from sports to like most anything that I've done. You know, when I see somebody that's doing it better than I can, how can I do it better than they are already doing it? You know, sports is probably the easiest way to apply it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And like I've done a few things. Like when I was at the Junior Olympics, when I was also 14, it was not like an eye opener because it was an experience in itself, but I was just like, bro, like, dude, that's what I want to be. I want to be on the top of that podium in any way possible. Senior year rolls by, and it just happened to be that it worked out, you know?
Yeah.
It just became a burning passion for me.
Like, definitely all the other sports things, and I would always try to be the best in, like, practices. But for whatever reason, when I was there in Colorado, that one was just hard for me.
Yeah.
But
does it feel like hard to, like, keep up, like, with, like, the pace and, like, especially, like, that skill level?
Kind of. Like, I did some really good stuff, but I think it was just being in a different environment.
Yeah.
Like, living in the dorms. It was just a lot at that time.
Yeah.
For me. But all the other things, like, from football, singing, or whatever, I would always try to be
the best.
Top dog. Yeah.
Well, and not to even mention, like, the successful part of, like, being the best. You know, like you mentioned where there's a time where it's not so great. I mean, regarding, like, you're 14, you know, like, you're 14, it kind of is like, it's frustrating and it's hard to put into words.
It's definitely, like, that experience changed my life for the better.
Yeah.
And sort of has helped me
to
where I am today.
Like, not even to, like, disregard, like, the successes, because I think with successes comes the other end of the spectrum. The failure, the not maybe burning passion to quit, but just, like, the desire that I'm like, oh, bro, I'm never going to get there. And the emotional side of that.
Yeah.
Has there been times where it's just been super duper frustrating and super emotionally driven where you're just like, like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore? Like,
yeah, literally with anything that I've done, like, it could be being a valedictorian.
Yeah. With
football, I can definitely think of the exact time that happened. And with pretty much any, like, with hockey, like when I played a couple years ago, I had an experience like that where I hurt my knee.
Yeah.
And it was just, like, pulled me back, I guess.
When you had just got right back into it.
Yeah. Like, I 9 games into the season, I was doing really good. I had, I think, probably, like, 8 points in 9 games, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was an assistant captain, and I was doing really good this game. I think I had an assist, and I was coming into the zone. It was in the 3rd period. I played defense, so they chipped the puck in, and I was going to get it, and the guy was right behind me, and I didn't know he was going to hit me because my back was facing him completely, and I didn't see him coming at all, and he hit me when I was, like, 5 feet away from the boards, and I just went head first into the boards, but he landed on me, and so I hit the boards super hard, and I was, like, laying there, and my head hurt a lot.
Similar to that football play when you got power drived.
Yeah, but it actually didn't hurt as bad.
Fair
but my
enough.
head hurt a lot, and I was like, oh, it's kind of, like, throbbing. And then, like, all of a sudden, my knee was just, like, way worse. Like, it was way
screw
worse.
The head. Like,
yeah, like, I forgot about the head. My knee hurt so bad, and, like, it hurt so bad I couldn't even lay still. Like, I had to move.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. And, like, I took my
Mother Teresa's out there.
Yeah, she was freaking out. She was in the stands.
Yeah, she always is.
But, like, it was a gnarly hit. And the kid got suspended for 1 game, which I was super upset about. Like, I was so mad.
Suspended for the season.
I wanted to play them so bad again.
Yeah.
But
never did.
We didn't, because the way our league was set up, we only play their team 3 times. And that when we played them, it was the 2nd time.
Oh.
And then when I was hurt, they played them again. So I didn't get to play them. But I missed 16 games because of that.
Oh, my God.
But my knee, I couldn't see my kneecap for, like, a month and a half.
Oh, my God.
And my leg, like, I don't know if you can see, but my hands only come, like,
they don't
far.
Yeah.
I had to wear a brace for a month, and I could fit both my hands around my leg, my thigh, because I lost so much muscle.
Oh my God, bro! Your your leg became a calf.
Yeah. And it took a long time to get that back.
Wow. So that was just a time that it just ugh.
Yeah, like I was just hurt. Like I'd be at home.
Yeah.
Just working on school and sitting on the couch and like my whole team's practicing.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck there and just like definitely a low point.
Yeah.
And like a lot of anger.
Yeah, I think that was also a low point for me as well, just because of the relationship that I was in. But I mean, like, that's a whole different story. But like, I had a very similar case, not as extreme, because I mean, you like shattered your knee, whereas I got injured, so I was just kind of off and on. It was just kind of like this, like, it was just reoccurring. It was just like, why is it reoccurring? So for backstory, I had, the same thing. I'd worked all the way throughout the season. The very first meet, I go out there, triple jump, and I hurt my foot. And I couldn't jump the other two jumps that I was planning on doing. I still tried. I think I took my second one off, and my third one I tried doing it with my opposite leg, but I couldn't put any weight on my ankle. I couldn't put any weight on my foot, my left foot, that is. So I took like a week and a half off, came back. We did like 2 jumps, and it still hurt. Regardless, we just went through the season with more injuries of like my knee, my hamstring strain, and then those just ones just kind of kept reoccurring. Like my foot didn't bother me anymore, but it was just so frustrating because we have a shortened season because of COVID. So then when we got into season, it was just like, okay, well, we have like 8 meets, 9 meets at most. And I don't even think 9 meets. And like for half of them, I'm injured. And for the ones that I could compete at, I couldn't really compete much. It was just so frustrating. And it's just like you're sitting there, you're just like, oh my God. Like, you're trying to do everything that you can to get back out there. You know, and I could imagine like you're doing everything that you can for your knee just so that it could heal as fast as it could for you to get back out there.
And it was the best case scenario. Like I sprained my MCL. I didn't tear anything. Good. So all I had to do was pretty much wear that brace for a month. And then the tendon was healed. And then after that, rehab was building that muscle back and
making sure that your leg doesn't look like a chicken.
Yeah. And getting strong again so I could go play. But it was definitely like double the work. Yeah. Because then I had to work like twice as hard to get back out there.
Yeah, and I think that's the tough part to like invest yourself into the process of recovery. You know, it's kind of like when you put on weight, it's 2 times faster to put on weight than it is to take it off. You know, so it's like I'm working 2 times as hard just to get back to a level that I can play. Yeah. It's just like it's not like demoralizing, but at the same time it is. You know, it's just such a long process of just waiting, hoping for something to just happen that you're like, I have enough confidence in my injury that it's like gone or that I can at least play. And I mean, those low points are never easy. They're never fun.
No.
It's tough.
But it was definitely good. Like after a couple months, then I was finally out there playing again. So I was able to slowly start playing again.
Yeah, and then, I mean, when did your season end? Like right before COVID?
Yeah, so we finished the first week of March.
Yeah, I remember because I went to your game. That was the last game that I went to, and then COVID hit, and it was just like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, we were joking around in the locker room about coronavirus.
Yeah.
But
a week later.
Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah. I mean, because I remember going to that game. Like, and I just remember sitting in the stands.
Oh, yeah. That game you went to was probably crazy. Was that the one where there's tons of fights and stuff?
Yep.
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 Yeah, that was the last game of the season. It was fun.
Yeah. Because it was just like third period, no matter, I don't care. Bah, 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 bah. I'm like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's the last season. Like, what do you have to lose, you know?
Pretty much.
Last game of the season. So that was a really exciting game. And then COVID hit.
Yep.
And then for me, at least, it is just kind of like a mental fortitude for me, just kind of like being able to ease myself because there's no stress, you know, of like performing at a high level. It's just like, how can I mean, there was a question mark on everything.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to be able to come back?
Like, am I going to be okay?
Yeah. And it was just like, I mean, when we got into like coronavirus season, It was just like, I mean, for me, like still 3 months after until June, I just kept working out because you have no idea when things are coming back.
Yeah. Like I worked out all summer. I was in the best shape like I've ever been in.
Yeah.
At the end of that summer, getting ready for hockey season, and then found out that, hey, we're not even having a season because the border and coronavirus stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're the only team from the States in my league for the Braves.
Yeah.
And so we literally had nobody to play with. So
yourselves.
Our team didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then the same thing actually happened this year.
Oh.
But it was like the border's open, but there's too many things like when the Canadian players come down to play us.
Yeah.
They have to get tested when they come over the border. And then when they go back over the border, they have to get tested. And it's all at their own expense.
Yeah.
So it was like a really big burden for them.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if there was like a way that you just like buy a whole bunch of hotel rooms, just stay for like a month.
Well,
I mean,
usually
kind of hard.
You play like 3 or 4 games a week.
Yeah.
And like then you'd play some at home and some away. So you'd have to go back and forth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's been obviously really awesome to see you play. Awesome to see you progress through this world of hockey, ASB, singing, not to mention that, you know. Casey's a phenomenal singer. Surprisingly enough, I think this was like one of the many things that brought us together. My junior year, I was singing at the Spring String Fling. I don't know how to sing. Like I'm not a great, phenomenal singer like yourself. So Mrs. Atwood, she was like, "Oh, like what about if we have one of the choir people?" I'm like, "Oh, you know, like let's get Casey out here."
Yeah,
bro. You helped me sing it. I had to perform in front of like 1,000 people, and I mean, it was a great performance nonetheless. But I think it was only good because like the singing aspect wasn't bad. Yeah. It wasn't bad. So kudos out to you because that experience for me was so fun.
That's
like
good.
It was so fun. And I remember like sitting back there and they're all learning the song. I didn't need to learn the song because I was performing the song, and I was just like, "How do I hit this note?"
Yeah.
Just give me the proper like
form.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna need Jared. We're gonna need a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Just like can't.
It took a lot of practice.
It took some practices together, but we did it. I didn't do it to like the singing side, but I did it as best as I could to at least vocalize this emotion that was going on throughout the song.
Yeah.
It was good, though.
Yeah.
It was fun. It would not have been as good of a performance if it weren't for you. So people would probably be getting up out of their stands in a bad way and leaving. It would not be not a standing ovation, a standing leaving. That's what that would be. But I want to ask, like, I talk about, like, the inspiration when it's coming to new people that you've never competed against and just being like, wow, like, they're phenomenal. I want to be just like them. And especially we look at these athletes when it comes to, the Wayne Gretzky's, Sidney Crosby's of the world, the elite of the elite hockey players, the people that we remember, the people that we aspire to be. Who's your biggest inspiration when it comes to life as a whole?
I think probably my dad. He's probably the biggest inspiration for me, mostly because like he didn't have it that good when he was younger, and like when he was in high school, he had to work a graveyard shift because his dad had Parkinson's and stuff.
Oh.
And so his dad was like at a position where he was really sick, and he pretty much had to provide for his family.
Yeah.
And his older brothers and siblings
Yeah.
were already gone, and he had a younger brother, and so he was like, he would work and then like fall asleep in class at school.
Yeah.
And then after that, then he'd go to work. And that was pretty much like the whole cycle because he had to pretty much take care of his family.
Wow.
And so he just wanted to give all that he could for me and wanted me to like prepare myself so I didn't have to be in the same situation where I could provide for my family.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much been like the main inspiration. And like for school, he was always like, go to school, get a better job than I do. So like that way you
Pest
can make a
control.
lot more money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like the main motivation for school. And then like he pretty much is like a life coach, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he put
And
you on skates, you know?
yeah, but he like would always be like, if you're gonna do something, like do it the best.
Yeah.
And like especially for work, he sort of had instilled that in me when we'd go and we'd like work at my mom's boss's ranch.
Yeah.
And he was like, whenever you do work, you want to make sure that the people will notice that you were there.
Yeah.
And if you do that when you work, then you know you're doing a good
Yeah,
job.
good things happen
Like-
in return.
Yeah. So I've sort of just had that mindset from when I was younger. My dad
Yeah.
sort of instilled that in me, and so
When did you learn about, like, his working habits when he was younger?
I've
Like,
known
when he
it,
had to provide.
I've known it for a long time. It was
Okay.
pretty much when I was doing school, and if I started
Yeah.
falling behind, he's like I didn't take school seriously, is what he
Sure.
would say, because like all he did was go to high school, but he didn't
Yeah.
get super good grades,
Yeah.
and so he would like use that and tell it to me,
Yeah.
and it was like he'd tell it to me a lot.
Yeah.
But
Like, oh. It
Yeah.
just kind of makes more sense over time.
yeah, but that was like sort of the drive that he gave me, and I just applied that to everything. Like, if you're gonna do something, don't do it halfway, or it's not gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
Do it all the way.
I mean, it surely seems like it's been applied, you know?
Yeah.
I could definitely safely say that it has been applied in, like I said, all the regards that you have: hockey, ASB, singing, academics, other things that you do,
Football.
like football, lawn mowing, landscaping.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I think that's the biggest thing, is just to do it to the best of your ability, no matter what gets in the way.
And people respect you a lot for that too.
Yeah.
Like in hockey, I was the assistant captain as a rookie, which doesn't happen very commonly, but
Yeah.
and I wasn't even the best player out there. Like I was probably in the middle of the pack cuz I hadn't played for 2 years, but I would work harder than everyone.
Yeah.
And I'd fall so much. Like
Yeah.
part of it was 'cause of my skates, part of it was just 'cause like not skating for a long time, and then I was just working hard, and you can't be afraid to fall and slip up, but
You can't be afraid to fail.
yeah,
I mean,
it's just a part of the process. And
yeah.
as you work harder, it'll make you stronger.
Yeah, I mean, like, surely, like, things just don't happen overnight. You know, it's a skill that you develop, and it's a skill that you learn. You know, like, I imagine the first time you were ever on skates, you probably fell 20,000 times. You know?
I remember my nana would always say I'd just like lay there on the ice and just lay there, and then the teacher would come pick me up, and I just enjoy laying there. But
I mean, that's the thing. It's a part of the process, you know? Like, no matter if there's something in the way of an injury, it's like, how can I be the best at recovering? You know? How can I be better next time when this thing comes around? And I mean, I've dealt with a lot of injuries throughout my career, so it's not uncommon for me to go through it. But I've understood, I'm like, oh, okay, like, I have this problem. I know how to fix it now. You know, it wasn't like, oh, God damn it, like, where do we go? Like, I got to go back to the chiropractor. It's always just like, it's just leeching from people, you know? Like, you leech these different ideas, you leech these practices, and you just apply them to your daily life, you know? Like, working hard is something that you don't, like, teach. You have to practice that.
yeah, it's definitely like a mental skill. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, and it's pretty much like it gets to the point where it's like second nature. You don't really have to think about working hard. It's just something that you do.
Yeah, and then you realize, you're like, oh, like, well, and then when people recognize that you're working hard, it feels really weird,
Yeah.
because it just feels like second nature, like you said.
Uh-huh.
Like, you're not really recognizing, like, oh, I need to work hard, you know? Like, it just happens, and then the results yield itself.
Mhm.
And that just happens to be in the form of, like, wow, you work really hard. And it's just like, I mean, I'm just doing what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I'm not a phenomenal, well, I like to say that I'm a phenomenal athlete, but that's just dick riding myself. I want to say that I am not the most advantaged athlete. You know,
Mhm.
I come from a smaller frame. I
Yeah.
come from a skinnier build. It's not, I mean, like, football was not something that cards I would play, you know? Like, I'd probably play it safe, but it is what it is, you know? Like, I'm going to try and challenge myself. But when it comes to track, you see these guys who are tall, especially in my field of jumping. Like, you get really short and stocky built guys in long jump and really tall and skinny and bouncy people and guys in triple jump. Like, and I'm like in between.
Yeah.
Like, I have long arms for my height, long legs for my height. And I'm like, but I'm just not tall. I'm short, but I'm tall. I'm not tall. And so it's just like, it's just how do you use the things that you've been so graciously given to actually make it your how do you make your weaknesses your strengths, And for me, it was just learning the fundamentals. I know I don't have the biggest bounce, but how can I at least get the most bounce of my threshold? And then how can I learn all these fundamentals to become something more than just an average triple jumper? And it took years. I mean, like, I broke this freshman school record, and then I go for a 2-year lull of just not even PRing until my junior year. And then senior year, it all just comes together and just things fall in line because it's just all the doubt and all the things that haven't gone my way have gone my way, And it finally feels like it's taken its not toll, but it's taken its time. And it's just a process, It's just slowly every single day just working on something, And for those 2 years, it was just a process. It was just fundamentals. Like, it takes years. You're not going to be a great golfer right from the jump. It takes time to learn, like, maybe I should use this wedge or this driver or this wood or this hybrid on this distance. And then not only that, you have to focus on the form. Yeah. It takes so much time. It amazes me that, like, in the Olympics, we have, like, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds in the Olympics, like, winning gold medals.
Dang.
Bro, dude, and it makes me feel like I'm like, am I doing anything with my life? Like, that was my biggest goal. And I guess kind of to harp back, like, when there's that end goal, it makes it that process so much more desirable, because it's like the work that I'm putting in now is for that goal. And for my goal, it was to become an Olympian, similar to you when you're 15 and you want to become a hockey player. You want to get drafted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That was my goal for being an Olympian. I was like at 16, the first year that I would have been eligible. At 16, I was going to try, but I wasn't at the position that I could.
Yeah.
But that was my goal.
Yeah, and goals are definitely a big part. Like, I always set goals, and like whatever I do, even if it's day to day, like when I'm working, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get this done today.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like one of the biggest things, because even when you get tired and things get hard.
Yeah.
There's always those low points, like hockey.
Yeah.
But if you have your goals and surround yourself with people that are your teammates, your friends, and coaches that will help you get there and inspire you, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, why did it blank me? Oh God. No, I remember one time the first time I ever came to your house, I remember, you had sticky notes on the mirror.
Yeah.
And I just, like, read them. And I was just, like, washing my hands, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I kind of knew, like, those were goals of yours, but, like, manifestation is a weird phenomenon when you're, like, constantly thinking about it and constantly working towards that so desired goal. It's a weird phenomenon, because I want to say, I'm like, well, like, how do you know if it works? I've seen it work. Yeah. I've seen it work. My entire freshman year was literally just like, I'm going to beat that freshman record. I'm going to beat it. And that was my entire goal. And the first meet, I beat it. And then we go through the entire season, blah, blah, blah. And then when it came time to that final district meet, like when we're like that final week before districts, and Blythe, our coach, is just like, dude, just visualize yourself on that runway. And I'm just there. I'm like literally in class, just like thinking about it. And I'm just like, let's go. I'm visualizing this thing that hasn't happened yet. And that entire week was a dream. That, like, when we come back that Monday, and I'm just like thinking about it every single day, just visualizing. And it's like, for me, like now I'm like, how does that work? But I'm like, bro, I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
You know, it's the weirdest thing. What's your like process with that? Like, have you had something that you've just so dreamed about that it's happened?
Yeah. Like football. I dreamed about it.
Fair enough.
Just worked on it and made it happen.
Yeah.
But a lot of it just sort of seems to happen like everything aligns perfectly. But a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And it's like, it's weird because like, I mean, yeah, there's probably times where it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I remember reading one on yours was become like a junior chief.
Yeah.
In a way you kind of did, but like at the same time, it wasn't to the level that you wanted.
Yeah, like I wanted to play for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And so when I didn't get drafted or get the opportunity to go try out, it was hard. And I'd see like people that I played with who I knew I was like equivalent to or better than or like right up there. Like I played with them my whole life.
Yeah. Get drafted.
Well, they like went to camp and had the opportunity, and I didn't even get the opportunity. So it was kind of hard sometimes. But
yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think the one thing that is a little hard is when somebody gets the award, so per se, when you work just as hard, you know, like the recognition, you know, and you work just as hard. It's like difficult because I think the one thing is I remember like that one of the our first year across country when they had like the hardest working people of the week or meet. Bro, you won like every week. And I'm just like, bro, like what is going on? What am I doing wrong? I feel like I'm putting everything that I have into the sport. And every week Casey's our athlete of the week. I'm just like, bro, I'm like, what? Like, how can I work harder? And one of the biggest things, because I feel like this came full circle, is when our senior year, and it was football, and I mean, I was struggling with a few plays. Like, I didn't memorize things, you know? Bro, and you just said, like, dude, I literally just go up to the coach and what can I do to be better? Bro, dude, that was a game changer for me. Just a game changer. And it didn't apply to football as much as it did just anything else. Like, how do I add value to what I'm already doing? And when it came to, like, track, bro, dude, Kobe Bryant's passing, bro, like, I felt like everything was like, oh, my God. I'm, like literally watching, like, everything about him. I never really followed him other than just watched him. But when his passing happened, I was like, bro, like, I'm going to be unstoppable in this regards, you know? I'm going to be unstoppable, and nobody's going to stop me from doing the things that I want to do. You know, dude, it was the craziest thing. The craziest thing. So I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I don't know why I was so amped up that my eyes started welling up. So I'm not like crying. I'm just like super amped because it was just like
a big part.
It was just a big part. Like, not only you, but like just it felt like it applied so much to everything. It came full circle. You know, like I didn't understand why Casey is always like the night athlete of the week when I feel like I'm just working just as hard, you know? But it's just like, I was like, and it's that recognition part. I'm just like, bro, like I feel like I'm working just as hard as he is, but he's getting the recognition. And dude, it fucking pissed me off. I was like, bro, I'm like, bro, and every week, Casey Nowak, I'm like, oh my God, bro. I'm like, dude, how does this fucking keep happening? How does this keep happening? And then, like, obviously, like I said, you excelled in football for the year that you played because it's just all the fucking hard work that you put in, you know? And so when it came those 3 months of just COVID, like the first 3 months, it was just like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to like literally just sideline myself from everybody else and just focus on this. And surprisingly enough, 2 years later, a year and a half later, it's coming full circle again. I'll explain after the podcast, but bro, these next 6 weeks are just madness from me. Like, it's all in on YouTube, and it's like I said, like we have a very similar situation where, you know, you stepped away from the sport that you've given your all, you know? I felt a little bit more at ease because I knew that one of my best friends had gone through it, you know? And when I like stepped away, like I knew that it would be okay, you know, because I'd seen you go through it, you know? Why am I crying? I don't know why I'm crying. But that's what I meant that's what I meant in the intro when I said, like, you're the reason why I'm in the position I am today. Because not only have I been able to watch you go through the process, I've been able to be with you in the process, you know? So that's, like, been go say something, Casey.
I was crying once, too. I was in that position. It was hard, but
yeah, I mean, it's
yeah, as long as like you're doing what you feel you got to be doing, and you're liking where you're at, it's the right decision.
yeah.
'Cause you can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, and I think you learned that in some way. But like I said, I was able to see it, but also to be a part of that journey, you know? Like, you gave up, like, the sport like you'd done for so long. You know, you've had so much great success in that sport. And the same goes for me. You know, like, I was a junior Olympian. I won state. 2 years later, I'm announcing my stepping away, quote-unquote retirement, or like whatever you want to call it, of that to pursue something that is beyond me. And I always like a challenge. I like the unknown. I like the way that life is set up in that regard. I like to be on a mission. I like to be in a place that I feel uncomfortable, because it only, like, what's the worst that could happen in an uncomfortable situation? You're just awkward and uncomfortable, and you feel like you're in a weird spot. But at most, you learn so much about yourself and so much about what you're doing and why the process means so much. Yeah. And so, like, to speak on the idea of mission, later this month, you're leaving.
Yeah, and literally, like, less than a month, I'll start a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I'll be leaving probably October 12th to go down to Utah for 2 weeks. And then at the end of October, I'll be going to Johannesburg, South Africa for 2 years. So, yeah, pretty big.
That's a big like, thing. Stepping stone, you know? Like, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you know, to be serving your church for 2 years.
Yeah.
And probably one of the better places I could have thought of.
I'll get to go to, well, a lot of people go pretty much all over, as long as it's someplace where they'll be safe. But,
yeah.
Like,
people
don't go to North Korea or...
Yeah. Russia.
Yeah. Well,
some parts of Russia
go to Russia, but, like, yeah, not North Korea, those kind of places.
And down to Cuba.
But, no.
I think they're well off over there, I feel like.
Yeah. I'll get to go...
Their religion.
I'll get to go to South Africa, which is 10,000 miles away, like, almost as far away from here as you can get, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's on the southern hemisphere, like, literally halfway around the world. So...
Insane.
Yeah.
And not to mention, like, this whole, like, this weird coincidence. Like, number 13 has been your number.
Oh, yeah.
And it so happens to be that this station happens to be one of the stations that is numbered, and it happens to be number 13. Yeah. I remember your mom saying that at your party.
It was funny.
I was like, bro, like, if you tried switching numbers, like, somehow like, that number would end up in your locker somehow. Like, well, like, I guess I'm wearing it. Bro, it's weird how, like, your life is driven by that number.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. And I'm pretty sure, like, that the day was, like, the 13th or whatever when I opened that. But it was funny. But, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be going to South Africa. And what I'll be doing there is I'll be teaching people about Jesus Christ and serving others. Like, pretty much trying to be like Christ.
Okay.
And so that's what I'll be doing down there, and helping the people of South Africa and learning to love and like love the people there.
Yeah.
And how it'll work is I'll go down there. Well, I'll do missionary training before I leave.
That 2 weeks over in Utah?
Yeah, and I do like a week online before I go to Utah too.
Oh, gotcha.
Because before, everyone would just go to the missionary training center in Utah or wherever. And because of COVID, they changed it to online. So now they're just barely getting back to normal.
Gotcha.
So a little bit of online, a little bit of in person. And then I'll go down there. And so they have like 6-week transfers. So you'll have a companion that you're with, and you do everything with them for like 6 weeks. And sometimes you'll stay with them for multiple transfers. And then sometimes like you'll only be with them for 6 weeks, and then you'll be moved to a different area and with someone else.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. And so that's how it'll work pretty much. And that'll work for my whole mission like that.
Wow.
So I'll be with people like I don't know. I don't even know anybody there right now. But
it's kind of cool though. I mean, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll be fun. I mean, you're gone for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That won't be fun here, but it'll be fun for you.
It'll go by fast if you think about like how fast the 2 years have gone by since we graduated, or how fast.
Yeah, I wish I could say they've gone by fast.
To me, they've gone by fast.
Yeah, I mean, I was in relationships like 5 months after that, had that, then like the winters felt long, and then I continued, and then COVID, and COVID felt super long, and then I can remember back last year in August when I was doing my road trip, and then we come back this season, and bro, I remember vlogging it, and I remember putting in a video, bro, dude, like I don't remember the time frame. Like that was like 11 months ago that I was recording this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember that, but I thought it was like in like February.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be, and then we move on. This year has definitely been faster. I don't remember so much the January, February months, but once it became March, that was like the decision. I was like, dude, what do I do after? And everything felt so, I was like, oh, we're like so honed in on this certain section of my life. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know if Facebook's helping though, because I see Facebook memories. I'm like, oh, that happened like 5 years ago. Five years ago? I'm like, bro, it's crazy how life moves so fast. And I kind of want to take it back to high school for a quick second. What was your favorite ASB moment?
There's a lot of fun moments. I think, there's like definitely Golden Throne when we did Shrek. That was super fun. And
I enjoyed the process.
It was a lot of fun. Kind of stressful, but a lot of fun. And
so I was his voice, by the way, for that.
Yeah.
We did like a sketch in the middle. I happened to be his voice. The Puss and Boots.
Yeah, the skit was fun. And I think like the assemblies were probably like the highlights. It just felt so fun.
Yeah.
Like I flipped at one of the assemblies.
You and Will.
Yeah. And I don't know, I felt like on top of the world.
Yeah. It's definitely an exciting experience. I remember you guys asking me, like, you going to do a backflip with us? And I'm like, kind of have like a meet like later this week. I don't really want to like risk anything. So I didn't do the backflip. But I mean, it was just, I think the process was super duper fun because I like, like YouTube's my thing, so like when it's coming up with an idea, it's coming up with a process for that video, and how do I record that? And the same thing applied to these processes is within school, So ASB in working in this creative field of coming up with scripts, coming up with props, coming up with ideas that could be produced on a mass scale with 20 other people working on it. It's always so fun. And I'm not going to lie, one of my favorite experiences was doing the announcements. Those were fun. I love doing those. And then I really, really enjoyed the Sadie's dance.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my funnest projects.
The video, making the videos. Oh, I watched that
I watched it like a month ago too.
Yeah.
Bro, it's so fun.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And just those processes, because I like being a creative. I like being in that field of cinematography, videography. It just so happens that I'm the guy that knows how to do that at our disposal. And I just remember like looking back at it, I'm like, bro, this is whack. It's not a great video, but it's cheesy, but it's funny. But I just like doing that. I think Golden Throne, that whole like month of just, oh my God, bro, dude, I was exhausted. And I imagine you were too. Just like we worked on that day in and day out. Like it was like our life. Yeah. Like we were getting paid to do it. We were not getting paid to do it.
Yeah, I painted and I wasn't that good at painting then. Yeah, I was bad.
I always remember you in class, like Like, I mean, there would be times that you're not doing anything, but it's just like what do I do? I can't paint.
I'm not good at writing nicely.
So it's just
yeah, I just move stuff or whatever.
You give a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd encourage everyone.
Yeah. It's so much fun. I also loved going to the board meetings. Those were super fun. When we had to go to the to go to the board office and just listen. I mean, it was always fun. I was like just tagging along with you there and just listening in. It was always so fun.
Yeah.
It was just a good dynamic.
Yeah, we'd always tag teammate, cover everything that we needed to cover.
Yeah. It was good. And then I think the one big thing for us, I think the everlasting impact was just our attention to those that don't get the spotlight. You know?
Yeah.
Those that aren't seen for the recognition. Those that aren't, feel like they're doing a lot of work, but they don't really get recognized for it, and they don't really get heard, or they have a voice, but they're too afraid to talk.
Yeah. Trying to give them that opportunity. And yeah, especially in SAC, like that class that we were in, we'd, some people were really quiet and we'd help them to come out of their shells a bit.
Yeah. Zoe was definitely one of them our junior year. Cause she, a lovely person, Zoe's amazing, but she just didn't have like the fortitude to actually speak up and talk about her ideas.
And then she went and played football.
Yeah. Yeah. She was one of our teammates, one of our only female teammate. And usually when you see the female, they're usually the kicker because they're usually a soccer player.
But
she's on the line, baby. She was on the line.
Yeah,
protecting you a few games.
She was bigger than like most of the
bigger
guys.
than me.
Which was good. Like she was just super strong.
Yeah,
actually,
and just like mentally strong too. That was the thing that surprised me. I mean, it's not surprising that she did it. Like knowing her, especially after like leadership camp, does not surprise me at all.
Yeah,
that she did that. But regardless, like those memories are so fun. Just like setting up all the stuff and just like the school environment that we've been able to create is, I mean, it's just a legacy. Like we get 4 years there, and it's like, how do we at least keep our names?
Yeah, I would be back there more if it wasn't for COVID. I'd go visit.
Yeah,
but
I think the first time I visited was my school orientation. I'm like, oh, how are you, Jared? I'm like, I'm great. I mean, my sister, she's here. She goes to school here. She's your student, but I'm doing great. So yeah, it was. I hadn't gone back for like 2 years, or a year before that. So I just never stepped foot in the building, and then.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the legacy part was the biggest thing. Like, we're going to go graduate. Everyone's, most of your class is going to graduate. People are going to graduate. People are going to move on. But how do you be remembered for something beyond just, oh, I went to high school with that guy?
Yeah.
Like, how do you, Because, like, for you, I imagine it's a lot different than me. Like, it's probably way different.
I just try to be who I am, I guess. Be nice, and people will respect you for it.
Yeah.
And they'll remember that, especially, like, the people that, like, normally people wouldn't come up and talk to.
Yeah.
And are sort of like those people that are closed off when you befriend them and, like, are just nice to them. It's sort of something they'll remember you for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing for me was just the confidence and appreciation for others, of just making sure that they get the confidence that they have to speak up in class, raise their hand, go first for a presentation, and then the appreciation for just the value of them. Everyone has a story. This is why I started a podcast. I want to hear people's stories because, I mean, even a lot of this is from leadership camp.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a story no matter where you've come from. Doesn't matter how interesting or boring it may seem to others. Everyone has a story, You've gone through literally, like, probably the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, Still, you're here. You're still the same old Casey.
Yeah.
It doesn't change who you are. It shapes who you are.
Yeah. And leadership camp was probably, like, the best thing that
if I had an experience, it's the memory is that.
Molded you in ways that you didn't ever know before.
Yeah.
And just opens your your eyes and your mind to what you can do and how you can help other people.
Yeah. I mean, the one big my favorite ASB memory is probably the leadership stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
By far. Just going to conferences.
Uh-huh.
The conferences are a little bit more laid back. They're a lot more fun. Whereas the camps are so emotionally attached.
Yeah. It's like you have this giant connection with people that you didn't know you could have.
And you build it over the course of 6 days.
Rip it apart when you leave.
Bro, dude, it's not even a Band-Aid, bro. You wax my entire body without me knowing. That experience.
After that, like, you have the highest of highs, and then right after that, you just feel so depressed.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, just down in the dark. You're like, I'm never going to see those people again. And I really haven't seen a ton of them.
Yeah, I still stayed in contact with a lot of them. Like, when I was going down to my Spartan race, I met up with Margaret.
Okay, nice.
And then I also was able to, junior help me out. Naharika, who was one of the JCs.
Yeah.
I still stay in contact with her. I still stay in contact with, like, Macy Shellen. Different people, just, like, a lot of people from the Tri-Cities. I just, like, Snapchat them. Like,
Yeah. I mostly just follow them on Instagram. And
I unfollowed, like, a crap ton of people.
Talk to them, but
I unfollowed a crap ton of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was for good intention. I wasn't like, I don't really care about you, but it was like, I didn't really like, I want to see the things that I want to see. So that's like my friends, my family, and like inspiring shit and just like entertainment stuff. So like, I just like literally only followed that. I'm like, I don't care that you went to Palm Beach and you put a filter on this photo. I don't care.
Otherwise, you just waste too much time.
Yeah. It saves so much time. Like, I just like started, like, I followed like 2,000 people. I brought it down to like 300. Like, a lot of people.
Dang.
A lot of people. But regardless of everything that's gone on, there's one question I ask, especially, you've done so many things in your life that you're so multifaceted, and you've taken a lot of inspiration from your father. You've inspired countless people around you, such as me. My final question, because I think it's probably one of the most important things to realize, who is Casey Nowak?
Like, you want me to say, like, words that I think I am, or?
Yeah, just who you are.
I feel like a way to define myself would be someone who's hardworking, who's loyal and caring about other people, and who tries to be as genuine and honest and kind as he can be, because you just got to wear your heart on your sleeve, and sometimes it can be hard or scary, but when you do that, you make amazing friends, and people will see you for who you are, and you get opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't get.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's who Casey Nowak is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd probably add, like, personally, I'd add, like, a billion things. That's who you are, man. That's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is to identify who you are, and to understand, like, what you present, and for you, that's kindness and appreciation for others, not only yourself. And even throughout this entire conversation, with the minimal tears, the minimal eye waters, it's just been super duper awesome to see the process behind the scenes. I mean, like I said, I got to witness it. I got to kind of see a little bit at firsthand. And for those that don't know, when I say, like, magnitude, it's just because we've gone through so much shit together in a good way. It's not like we, like, beefed or anything. That toll has taken its time with other people. But regardless, it's just, we've gone through so much stuff together. It's, like, hard not to call you my brother,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
like, oh no, not the water.
Yeah, I don't have any siblings either.
Yeah.
So I just have, like, a bunch of friends that are super close, and my brothers, because I don't have any actual siblings.
Yeah. And I mean, even then, I feel like it's out of touch to, the Billup stuff. I mean, they're in and out all the time,
Yeah. That's why we started. So we house Chiefs players.
Yeah.
So we're like a billet family, as they call it, or a host family. And, like, we did that so I could sort of have, like, a brother for part of the year.
Yeah.
And, like, learn more from them because they're all hockey players.
Yeah.
And so that's why we did that. But
makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But regardless, I mean, Casey, it's been awesome to have you on. It's been an hour and 30 minutes of just talking with, again, minimal tears. But thank you so much for being here, Nationers. Make sure to go subscribe to his channel, Case Aquatics 13. And make sure to, most importantly, follow him on Instagram. Shoot him a follow. Make sure to follow us on Instagram because I'll be posting all this stuff on there as well. Episode 15
Sweet.
Of the Realest Podcast. Thank you so much for coming on, Casey. Remember to hit that subscribe button, like. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and viewing the Realest Podcast. Again, banner right there. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace. Peace.
Thank you, Jared.